walks into a 2-day practice. Butterfly kicks and the hardest sport there is. Racing starts and don't breathe off the wall if you want to make it to Olympic team at all. Flip, turn, streamline, Florida swimming, under the flags and dryland training. Long course season and Caleb Dressel, short course season Elizabeth Beisel. Tune in now to the SwimmerJoe Show.
Holy cow. That was like the marathon intro to the show. Wow. So we're waiting on Sid Cassidy. He's coming from swim practice. We have Jaime Lewis today, former Gator Swim Club coach, and now the team services manager and performance development. Jaime, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Joe.
Was that crazy or what? That was a little long, but it was kind of awesome. All right. So we're here talking about a couple things. We want to talk about USA Swimming a little bit. I know that if you guys are watching, you have a lot of questions about USA Swimming. What's going on? What about meets? What else is going on with USA Swimming, as well as what's going on around in the swimming world? We've had a lot of people on the last week. We've had Chad Leclos on. We had him on a couple of days ago. That was great stuff. We heard about what South Africa is doing. So let's dive right into this, okay? I do want to talk about swim meets, okay? And I know, Jaime, you and I have already talked, but I do want to talk about the tier meets. Why are they Olympic trial time standards compared to the just a few tenths off, okay? And I know you're looking at me going, "Oh, Joe, why'd you ask that?" But I don't know. I mean, some coaches want to know. We've got kids on the edge, and I get it. That we got to get these future Olympians and these people with Olympic trials prepared for Olympic trials. So anyway, if you have any input at all, please let us know.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I was not a part of that process this time. And my previous role, I was a part of the process of setting those standards. But I mean, you have to look at the purpose of the meet. The purpose of the meet, or the series of the meets, is to get our Olympic level athletes, national team athletes, ready to race in great situations. And sometimes when we open those standards up, the meets get too big and the sessions get too long, and it ends up not being a great situation for those athletes.
All right, so I understand that 100%, and I agree. They need to get up and race, and they need to race in big meets and big venues, and with all the excitement that USA Swimming does and puts into it. What about the kids that are close to their cuts? They need a situation like that, and I know that USA Swimming may not have that yet. I guess it has juniors. That's coming, right? Or is that a virtual meet? Jaime?
Well, we have not decided yet. The final decision has not been made. There are a lot of discussions that are being had about all the meets that are coming up this winter, with lots of different options being thrown out. And we have a team, our strategy team is constantly, watching the news and everything going on with COVID, obviously, and also looking at what other sports are doing. So hopefully we'll have a decision soon on what we're going to do to move forward with all of our winter series meets.
Do you guys follow along I'm sure you do, the ISL, because a lot of our athletes are on there. So ISL had their meeting today talking about what they're doing in a month, getting ready to go in a month and getting the wheels going, having a camp themselves. They've added 2 new teams, and there's the press conference link there if you guys want to listen to it. It's actually pretty good. I was listening to it tonight, and they actually interviewed the Toronto Titans coach and Tokyo Frogs Kitajima. He was there, so pretty interesting, pretty cool stuff. But do you guys watch what's going on with those guys?
I personally don't. I have a lot on my plate to be looking at that. I pay attention a little bit. I was a little bit involved last fall with the ones that were here in the United States, and had the great opportunity to attend a couple of them, and I thought they were awesome. I know that some of the talks that are being had are in consideration of what ISL is, because we know that so many of our national team athletes are involved.
So I know Sid is all over this part, and hopefully he'll join us here shortly. But the excitement of the ISL, and I want to get back to meets in a second, where we can see where there's some other big meets for potential, because I know there's a lot of coaches watching that they want to have a meet situation to go to with their athletes to try to get some cuts. A bigger meet, like you're saying, when it needs a little bit of excitement, a little bit of speed, maybe a little bit of USA swimming flair to it. But the excitement from ISL, the meets, right? The whole video and all this crazy stuff is USA Swimming. And again, it may not be your area, but are they thinking about doing things like that? Because Sid and I would be totally open to be doing that for you guys, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak officially on it, but I think just in the last couple years, you've seen our events take a whole new level with some different things. And so, yeah, I wouldn't put it past our leadership to move in a direction that's a little bit more in line with what they're doing. I'm not sure that they would go that extreme, but I mean, you look at trials, right? Like trials is that. So I think, like I said, in the last couple of years, we've trialized, so to speak, some of the national meets.
Yeah, trials is fun, and it's awesome with the excitement and the fireworks, and it's really should be something that everybody goes to and watches because it's so cool and so exciting. And I know that Bess Jackson and I went, and it was super exciting. We've been the last few times, and it's been a fun time. All right, so let's get back to USA Swimming a little bit. I know that. Do you foresee any other meets other than the tier meet, US Open, and those championship meets, or is that not even on the board yet?
As far as this fall?
Yeah, like, well, I guess, well, the fall, it looks like it's pretty much done, but like January, February, March, in that time frame, is there anything on the docket for that, or are we just still waiting around for what we see?
Well, I think we're kind of waiting to see what we can do this fall. I know I was in a conversation this morning, and COVID cases seem to be down right now. Obviously, schools are back in session, and we've seen what happens on college campuses, and so I think we're just constantly watching those numbers, and can we get back to having meets of 400, 500, 900 people? We might not be able to be there by January, but we would definitely like to be in a situation where we're able to be in person with a 200-300 person meet by January, I would say.
If you guys are just joining us, we're here with Jaime Lewis. I know Sid's coming on soon. She's the team services manager for USA Swimming. And we're talking about meets and different things like that. If you have any questions for her, we have a chat. You can chime in anytime you want and ask questions of Jaime or myself. What have you guys been doing outside of COVID, right? Or outside right now because of COVID? What are you doing these days to keep things rolling?
Yeah, thanks for that question, because I think we get that all the time, like even pre-COVID, what do you guys do? And we've been actually very busy. So we're, as I'm sure many coaches tried to or had to do over the quarantine when their pools were shut down, trying to figure out what we can do virtually. Right now, our group is working on the upcoming regional coach clinic, which will be in October. The signups for that opened this, I think yesterday. So we're looking at taking that virtual. Had lots of conversations of what that looks like. It used to be a 2.5, 3 day in-person thing, and now we're having to take it virtual. And what's the best way to do that? And how do we reach as many coaches as we can? What time of day do we do it? So many things to consider there. I personally have been working on, one of my projects has been the athlete development model and making that come alive, so to speak, and getting that up on our new website. So I'm in the process of working with our group to do that. One of my coworkers has been working with a bunch of different people on an insurance package for coaches. There's actually a Q&A tomorrow on that. So if you haven't heard about that, make sure you get on that. I think I can put the link I should be able to put the link in the chat for that.
But tell us about that. Tell us about the insurance package. What are you talking about there when you say insurance? I know that there's a ton of coaches out there that want that. What are you talking about?
Yeah, so that's something that we are in the works with, partnering with US Equestrian with, and coaches are basically going to be able to get insurance for their family at a much cheaper rate than they normally would. I know there was some surveys that went out to coaches, and we had one in particular that the wife is a coach and the husband is also, hey Sid, is also self-employed, and they spend over $2,000 a month in insurance, healthcare. And with this new program, they'll be able to get family insurance for less than $1,000 a month. So that's a huge savings just for that one family.
That's awesome. And Sid,
it's really exciting.
Sid, catching you up. USA Swimming is working on insurance. All right, insurance, and as well as a regional coaches clinic. And I know that there's a athlete development model, and what does that entail? Things like that stuff. So, Jaime, tell us a little bit about that athlete development model.
So it's actually,
by the way, look how skinny Coach Sid is.
Oh yeah. No, Jaime, I'm sorry. I was running practice at the beach. Thanks for Joe. I love hearing all these great things that we knew once. We hated to lose her, Joe. We got the state of Florida lost a lot when we lost Jaime Lewis, right? But
I know.
But we got her in a place where the entire country, and albeit the world, can benefit from.
Hey, we have a back door, okay? I just called Jaime. Well, first of all, I called Jaime and she lost her phone or deleted my account. She goes, "Who's this?" I'm like, "Just Joe. It's Joe, okay? It's Joe." She does that every time. I'm like, okay, whatever. Okay, so anyway, Jaime, athlete development model. Talk to me.
So the athlete development model is something that we've had for a very long time. And it's just been buried on our website. So there was a group of people that worked really hard to put it together. It went through the group committee, and I really just kind of am trying to polish it off and put some videos, put some extra resources to it, and really interactive on our website. So working, like I said earlier, I'm working with some people on the back end to get that up and running, and hopefully we get that sooner rather than later. So pretty excited. I actually didn't know it existed until someone said, "Hey, did you know that there's an ADM?" And I was like, "What's ADM?" And so when I was at Gator Swim Club, I pretty much created this type of stuff on my own. And it's just a great resource. There's 6 levels. It follows the USOPC's quality coaching framework. It kind of comes from that. So with some different areas of competence, character, connection, and confidence. And there's 6 different levels in each of those. And it just helps coaches kind of direct their athletes and help them like head coaches direct their coaches to, that progression.
Jaime is moving far beyond us, Sid. She is totally beyond us.
And now come on, in her life, it has evolved. We remember Jaime, who was that dogged, persistent, thoughtful swimmer, like somebody who wouldn't give up no matter what. And that was probably in practice. What I remember, Jaime, you always had that reputation of like bulldog. Nobody's going to do it better than me, and I'm going to make sure I cross all my T's and dot all my I's. And you were
there. She is.
Coach's dream, Joe. Coach's dream.
And there she is.
I don't know if Coach Troy would agree with that one.
Well, there is a question from Arthur Garcia. He says, "Hey, Jaime, if you had to choose between a Seminole and a Hurricane, what would you choose?" And it's probably nothing, right? Yeah. It's probably like leave them both on the deck, What do you say, Jaime?
Yeah, I'm not sure I could pick between them.
But
Who
they're
could?
playing the football game on the 23rd of this month, right? Down here. Supposedly. Yeah.
Is anything alive down there, by the way, Sid? What is
Yeah,
going on down there?
As a matter of fact, Joe, we're back in our pool, and tomorrow half our varsity team, the juniors and seniors, and we're going to be in with the boarding kids. And then by Saturday, we'll have all of our varsity kids, the freshmen, sophomore. Our school, by Monday, will have everybody the opportunity. They can either go online and learn, or they can all be back in. I've had the pleasure, it's been unbelievable, opening doors first at the lower school and greeting kids. I have my mask and, of course, all my spacesuit stuff. But these kids are just so happy to be coming back to school. The parents, I think, are twice as happy. Like, thank God you guys are open. And we're like, yes, welcome back. And they're like, go ahead, go.
Yeah, they're probably like, oh my gosh, I need to get rid of my kids. I need to get rid of my kids.
But we've all learned so much. And I think everybody is being very respectful when you say down here, because now Palm Beach is separated from Dade and Broward. That's down there. We now,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, our county moved to secede from the triumvirate, and we are now actually today or yesterday was our first day of phase 2. So only 2 counties remain in phase 1, Dade and Broward. So, I mean, we are Boca Raton. You know, we shouldn't have to wait for Miami. Come on.
I mean, Flagler really developed that area. No, that's a long history lesson. All right. So, Sid, we were talking about meets and different things, and Jaime said that, you know, some of the U.S. Open stuff is not out yet. There's still meetings on that. I'm just catching you up. The tier meets are U.S. Open, trying to get the Olympic trial people ready to race in a high intense meet situation. And I think that's good. And sometimes those meets fill up and people don't get an opportunity. So I think that's a good idea. And we just talked about other opportunities for swimmers, and we just don't know yet. We're just sitting here waiting on that. So, all right, I'm going to go into this open water thing. And I got a lot of things here that I want to talk about. And certainly, Jaime, you can help me. Abby Bergman last week swam Santa Monica Bay 27 miles in 16 hours. Okay. She's 24 years old. It was 64-degree water, Sid. How hard is that? Is that hard? Is that easy?
No, it's not that hard, Joe. 64 degrees, not hard. 54 is a little bit tougher, and you get below 50, it's hard. But that distance is great. I mean, 64 is not a bad temperature for open water swimming.
But it's 27 miles. It's 27 miles of swimming in Santa Monica Bay, which is a rare feat.
True. 27 miles. Joe, see, here's the difference. There was an article that came out this week or last on, trying to compare, and that was great. The author was young, and she was comparing English Channel swimmers to elite swimmers in the 50 and 100 in the pool. And I'm like, wait a minute. If you want to compare marathon swimmers, you can't look at these solo, okay, I'm going to go English Channel, double crossing, triple cross. It's wonderful. It's all great stuff, but it's not a race. It's not a competition. It's not people like at World Championships going to 10K, or a 25K, because there's a different strategy, or a 5K, or even the 5K relay. So it's completely different. And there's a lot of great open water swimming going on. And there you go. Hugh says 64 is a South Jersey temperature. It is right now open water, beautiful time of year, Joe. We've had a lot of experience. I know in Colorado, they're still swimming for another month at least.
Listen. Jaime and I are 0% body fat. I don't know if we can handle 64-degree water because we're in such great shape. So it's I don't know.
That sounds really cold to me. But
I'm just rambling. It sounds freezing. Like when I go to the river here, which is 70, that is freezing. I mean, I am freezing.
For Phoenix
maybe 10 minutes
temperatures, it wouldn't be. I mean, right now we're trying to get the wetsuits to be a one-step rule, but it's basically under 60 is where we are. But I think, Jaime, that there's enough going on in the world of open water with this summer, from what Bryce and you guys at USA Swimming have put together, there was a lot of new clubs, even now. I mean, what we've learned and a lot of the things that we have practiced now, we still have practice 6 days a week in open water for one group or another. And we'll keep it going. I mean, at least a couple days or a day a week, just because there's such interest in it.
So, Jamie, do you still swim?
I used to. I have not swam since all this COVID stuff started.
So you've been out of the water like 5 months. So what do you do? What do you do to keep in shape? Are you running or whatever? What's going on? Well, you got lots of places to hike, I guess.
Yeah, I do Orange Theory.
Oh, okay. There you go. There you go. All right. So
Wait.
but
About Jamie's swimming, Jamie, I had a theoretical question. So let's say you're just finishing with Coach Troy, and there's this ISL league that comes out because Joe sent me the link today, and you're just finishing up are you thinking, hey, you know what? I'm good enough to make some money, see the world. Maybe I'll go to the Budapest bubble. Would you do it?
Yeah, I can't lie. I think I would. If it was around when I was done swimming, I think I probably would have stuck around for a little bit. But I don't know if that is the smart decision, though. You kind of.
But then, what's the buzz around Colorado Springs with the news today and ISL trying to come out and do something for competition?
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I know that national team and the leadership has conversations and they are all on top of that and know what's going on. But I kind of live in my little grassroots bubble and team services and just trying to make sure I'm getting everything done. But I mean, it's exciting for those athletes for sure.
Joe, you'd do it. You'd swim pro. Well, I think it's extending people's careers, and they, for sure, they've and it makes it a little fun for these guys. I mean, who wants to train every single day? Why wouldn't you want to go be on TV and have the lights and the whole cool thing going on? They've added 2 more teams.
Tokyo. Leah Smith. Is she a captain for Tokyo? Or?
The Tokyo Frog Kings or whatever the hell they are, and then the Toronto Titans. I mean, it is awesome. So we have 10 teams, 320 athletes competing, and I know that there's a lot more. We do have a lot of athletes that are still unclaimed. So there's a lot of people that can do that, and I do think I have a little picture here. I don't know if we'll be able to see this, but it talks about the people that are still out there: Miller, Held, Baker, Nathan Adrian, Conger, Chase Kalish, all these guys.
Now, does red means they're not going to do it because they're going to do long course training or what?
Yeah. They're out. They're done.
They said no, thank you.
They said no, thank you. We don't want to do it. So, I don't know. So they sit out.
Years, COVID. I get it, but I mean, I love Budapest, man. I had a great time in Budapest. I think I'd do the bubble if I was good enough when I was getting out of college swimming. I mean, I did turn pro. What am I talking about? I was a pro marathon swimmer. Yeah, I went.
Go. I was nothing pro.
Probably what Leah Smith is doing now. But no, I think it was really cool because I was looking at the rosters briefly, and I was like, oh man, these 2 new teams. But yeah, there's still some people out there.
Well, there's those teams that are Toronto and Tokyo. There's a lot of Americans on those teams, so super pumped for that. So there was some news today. News in the last couple of days. Caster Semenya, she was denied her 800. The South African runner that was denied. I don't think she can compete in her 800 run. She's got too much testosterone. So, what do you guys think about that, Jamie? You've seen her. She's an excellent athlete. They denied her the ability to compete. Do you have any input on that?
I don't. I'm actually. I've seriously, guys. I live inside a hole these days. Zoom call after Zoom call after Zoom call, but this is crazy to me.
I don't think it's fair, and you know, she's got a rare genetic condition, significantly elevated her testosterone levels. I think she should compete. I mean, she is a woman. I mean,
so do they have a baseline that they compared it to, like for her, or?
Well, what it says is the organization had passed regulations in 2018 stating that intersex athletes who have a disorder of sexual development and have both X and Y chromosomes, the standard male pattern, would have to lower that number. That's basically what it says. They have to get that lower. But Beth is saying, yeah, she's not intersex. So if she was born a woman, I'm saying, I'm just reading what you're putting up because I think it's a real challenge of our times, and everybody should have a place to compete at some level, right? I mean, yeah.
Well, it's like this. It's like this, I think. You know, if you see like a Michael Jordan and you go, oh my gosh, that guy can leap like 18 feet in midair. He's got too much testosterone. Tone it down, or he can't compete in NBA basketball or whatever, something like that. That's the way it sounds to me. So, that's kind of silly what they're doing to her. I don't know. That's the way I feel. It's a little there you go.
The journey, that's good. Hey,
yeah, it is good.
16-year-old, that's tough, man. That's a good.
Well, you saw her line. Her line was a little crooked. It was like, at least it wasn't a Diane, a Naiad.
They always are. No, because of the tide, so strong, Joe. It pushes you, and then 6 hours. So your line is never going to be straight across. Unless
you're Diana Naiad, because she's a strong swimmer and she can swim against 5 mile an hour Gulf Stream. All right, scratch that. All right, let's talk about the golden goggles, okay?
Ooh,
1980.
Yeah, let's talk.
It's the 40-year anniversary, Sid, and you know a lot of these people, like you can call them tonight. It's November 19th at 8 o'clock. It's virtual. I do want to put some of the names up. We can talk about them. And I know that you told me years past that, there was something about the Olympic trials back then that was a little fishy. Can you expand on that?
It wasn't fishy, Joe. It wasn't an Olympic trials.
What was it?
It was after the Olympics. I mean, it was Ronald Reagan's coming out party in California. He came to Irvine. There was a big party on the deck the last night. He came around, shook all our hands. It was great. But the Olympic trials was scheduled for much earlier in the year, was canceled. And then they changed the name of the national championship that summer to placate our Olympians who are getting really the shaft quite royally by our White House. So, yeah, I mean, there were a lot. Now, I don't want to take anything away from these are great swimmers on here. But there were great swimmers that didn't go to the meet as well. So it wasn't a true Olympic trials where everybody was there in every event. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Jamie, you remember, I don't know how old you are, Jamie, and it's not polite for me to ask, but the 1980 Olympics boycott, what are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on the swim? You're a swimmer. You've trained hard. You know all about that. Tell me a little bit about the way you feel.
Well, I wasn't born in 1980, but I obviously know about the 1980 boycott.
I hear my wife laughing in the other room. It's so funny. All right, go ahead.
But I mean, it just like, I think obviously it kind of has come up this summer, like just the thought of, you work so hard for 4 years, and because most athletes at that level, it is a 4-year process. It's not a season to season process. It's a whole quad. And for something like that big to be just taken away and there's nothing that you can do about it, that's hard. That's really, really hard. And I know, speaking with some of those people, that it has weighed on them for years, obviously. And I just, I hope for the current athletes' sake that we are able to have some sort of games next summer. It might not look like what we're used to, but hopefully we are able to have some sort of games. And and that we are able to take a team there.
Sid?
Amen. Amen. I'm 100% on board with that. I think that the critical component there is that we still have a possibility of having some semblance of an Olympic Games, which could be a great competition, maybe without the crowds, maybe this or that. But I mean, they seem determined to do it. I believe we're going to have it. I think that those people that missed out, I mean, the bitterness of some of them very close to, I mean, there were a lot of guys who really were coming into their peak. You think Brian Goodell, when he was on here, we've talked to Craig Beardsley about it. We talked to these guys. My roommate, Steve Gregg, had gotten the silver in a 1-2-3 sweep. And all he wanted after 76 was to come back and get the gold. And you know, that's so hard when you're so emotionally invested that it's great that we're going to have golden goggles recognize these people. And they were technically called our Olympic team. They were selected after the Olympics. It just should be duly noted. There are other great athletes that chose not to go to those trials because they were such a sham and they were such a negative feeling. And especially those older ones that it was like they were hanging on for the end. They're like, you know. So I'm thinking the lessons learned department, you know, what we've been stressing, Jamie, and I've seen so much of it out of, you know, the headquarters, is that we need to find the silver linings and do the best with what we can do. And when we have a chance to face a real challenge like the athletes did in 1980, like not just our elite, but all of our athletes, including our grassroots ones. That's why we're so thankful to have you there now thinking like this and moving towards some areas. You know, Jamie, let me ask you, you were too young to remember the Quaker Oats and then after that, the Chevrolet Junior Olympic program, but they used to, oh, Joe says it's cheers. Oh, we got to have it. Okay. So here's
cheers.
There we go.
We're all drinking water here.
But when you talk about grassroots, the competition was always fun. And it kind of what the champions would move on to regions. And then from the Junior Olympics in your LS and your what was there, it was an AAU program. And then boom. And then either Chevrolet or Quaker Oats or somebody would fly everybody out to a major college campus. And it wasn't just swimming, you know, it was water polo, it was track and field, it was taekwondo. There was a lot of the Olympic events that they had. Now, I know they ran into issues, especially after USA Swimming took over. And we did have that sports festival group, which was fun. But in the pipeline, Jamie, where I'm going with this is you guys have to have a lot of discussions about what really works? What are some cool things? And you're going through this crazy COVID time out there. What are you thinking in your mind, even if you took off your USA Swimming hat and just thought as Jamie coach, you know, and passionate leader of swimmers and swimming, where should we go with our competitions to give these kids the best chance? Focusing, how do we do it? What are some of the things we can expect, or should we be seeking while we're trying to come up with a new plan?
Well, I'm going to take my USA Swimming hat off. I love the idea of, you know, kind of having the local competition and then moving to something a little bit higher, and then, you know, even higher than that. So whether that's you do some regional meets, like 6 to 8 regional meets across the country, and then people swim, and then 2 weeks later you move on and it's you know 3 or 4 meets across the country, and you get down to where you have the one last meet. So it's almost like the way high schools are set up in many areas. You have your district, your region, your state, or whatever, but taking it onto another level. I love that idea. I think that's really cool. But as far as, you know, I think as what USA Swimming and moving forward and what events look like, who knows, right? Like, I mean, should we, first of all, and are we going to have meets that are 9 and 1,100 athletes, 1,500 in some cases. I don't think pre-COVID we should have been doing that. So I think it's just a great, it gives us a great reason to kind of reevaluate what our events actually look like and kind of starting from scratch a little bit.
Yeah, we talked about this on a few episodes ago, but about a possible framework for USA Swimming on these very large meets, especially under this whole COVID craziness, is doing a couple of events at a certain time, like 8:30, let's say, and then coming back at 10:30 for 2 more events, and then coming, whatever it is, you have that gap in between where kids can come and go, and rotate everybody in and out. Of course, coaches and USA Swimming administration will be there all day, and that's unfortunate, but at least we're getting it through.
We're there all day anyway.
That's true. That's true. There's like a 3-hour break where we go to lunch, right? And we just talk for 10 minutes and we come back to deck. But I mean, but at least the swimmers can be going all day. And if you're a Caleb or any of these guys, they go do a couple of events and they leave. They do it anyway. So we may as well just take our breaks, move people in and out, and come up with this model that works. And maybe that eliminates some of the time trials. Okay, fine, whatever. So it moves it to 2 or 3 o'clock, and then we all go get something to eat and come back at 5:30 for finals.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, you were going to have to look at some different things, and that's why I think if we could find even event orders, like if you did you're only going to do a Friday night and a Saturday morning, 2 sessions, and we're not going to hit all the events. We're going to do these events. We're going to hit both the backs, both the breasts, 1 IM and 1 free. And then, that's coming up on your schedule. And maybe even if there's a league all doing the same, that weekend is the suggested, but you can pick whatever you want. I think dual meets are the way where we want to go again. I grew up in the PSDS, Philadelphia Swimming Directors Society dual meet league. And I swear it was one of the reasons that the Philadelphia area was so strong in swimming in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And you look at the number of Olympians that came out during those 20, 30 years out of the Philadelphia area, and just all in all, national level swimmers, we learned how to race. And I think kids today don't race as well. My best time. Show me my time. I want to beat forget your time. Race the next kid. And that's what dual meets do. I think that's my
like
2
cents. No, I like that dual meet stuff too.
I think to your point, I think that's a little bit of the direction we're going with that Speedo virtual Swim Again series, right? Like it started officially on Monday. This first part is 2 weeks long, and the series of events is based around IMX and IMR. And then the following week is based around the high school event order. And then the third week is more that distance oriented. And then that last week you return to the IMX IMR. But it can be done in any format, like Sid was talking about. It can be you can run it during practice, so it's not sanctioned. You can sanction it, and you can run Thursday night. You can run 2 events. Friday you run 2 events. Saturday, however you need to do it locally to get it in. It can be inter squad. It can be dual meet. It can be tri. So I think that's kind of where we were thinking when we came up with that Swim Again series.
Yeah, I thought it was great, Jamie. It looks pretty cool, and it gives you flexibility. Being in the high school season and not being in our pool yet, it was a little tough for us to say, yeah, let's do it, because okay, we'll swim in the ocean, we'll get our 200 breast time.
Sure.
Well, we haven't had any practices for like 3 days because of storms, so we don't do anything in the afternoon. We sit and look at each other, with a mask on. That's all I'm like, just go home. I'll see you in the morning. So now I got to have morning practice real early. But all right, so listen, we're going to wind this down. I know that Jamie's got a family she's got to get back to. Jamie, let's talk about real quick your favorite, most memorable, craziest, whatever experience from when you were swimming.
Well, one of my favorite stories to tell if some of you have probably heard it before, but when I was swimming for Martin and Greg and Anthony, and it was a Christmas training workout, and Martin standing up there, Martin Wilby, and he says, we're doing 2400s. Well, the whole time he was giving the set, I thought he meant 24 100s. And then he gave the interval, and I was like, oh, this isn't hard. Why is everyone freaking out? And
Not bad.
at 100, I was like, oh, 2400s. Oh, okay.
Jesus.
And they were all stroke, so that was fun. But that's, I don't know. I just always think back on that. Wait,
you said they're all stroke? They're all stroke?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They were all
like
stroke.
Fly. So fly.
Well, I did backstroke, but I'm sure the flyers did something a little bit different. But yeah, it was.
Oh my God, that's so ugly.
Brutal.
All right. That is horrible. All right, so listen, I do want you to give us the 30-second pitch on the regional coaches clinic again, and then the 30-second insurance pitch, and then Sid, we're going to give you last words, and then we'll get the heck out of here.
Sure. So the regional coach clinic, it's going to be 3 Wednesdays in October. Sign-ups started this week. We'll make sure we get that information out. And then the insurance, we're going to start offering insurance to coaches. It's a great deal. There's a Q&A tomorrow. I can try and put it in the chat box. And that's it. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm certainly looking forward to that. Sid, I know my man Sid, talk to me.
Well, first of all, Jamie, thank you. Thank you so much. And especially that insurance program, as a guy who has a couple young coaches, including one who within the year is going to be on his own insurance-wise, it gives us clubs a great opportunity to help us help them. And they can, okay, good, we can manage this. So that's pretty cool. Joe and Jamie both, kind of coming out of this COVID into the new reality. My challenge is really been in sharing enough of myself with my own swimmers. I'm spreading out, and I found that getting back to that brings power to all of us. So my advice on the week is come back, bring it back within, and challenge yourself like I did our gold swimmers on the beach today, to absolutely make good choices. When you make a bad one, okay, you made a bad one. Don't beat yourself up over it, but make a better one next time and learn from it. And I found our training today was pretty special. So I challenge all of you to do that. Make good choices.
That's awesome. Jamie, thanks for joining us. If people want to reach out to you, how do they reach out to you?
They can email me at jlewis@usaswimming.org. So JLEWIS at usaswimming.org. Or I can put my cell phone number.
Don't put your cell phone number.
Okay, yeah, we'll just go email.
There it is right there. There it is right there.
My cell phone, Joe has it.
I won't give it out. I will not give out your cell phone. All right. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining us. And we have a lot of great shows coming up on Swim Monkey, presented by Florida Swim Network. So we have them every single day almost. It's crazy, Sid. This thing is growing so fast. So thanks for joining us. We'll see you on the network in a few. See y'all.
Thanks, guys.
Join us on the Swim Monkey.
Swim
Monkey.
Monkey TV. On the Monkey.